you may not know what Budeshi is, let's let you know that it is the Hausa word for open it up, okay? Open it up. And today we'll be on the show discussing procurement monitoring as a means to achieve improved service delivery. Last week we had lots of interesting conversations with, I can't remember his name now, PPDC personnel who came up on board. But, we looked at the improved Budeshi. And this time around, our focus will be on the procurement monitoring as a means to achieve improved service delivery. The Public and Private Development Center, PPDC, has deployed community-based monitoring, also known as the CBMs, to monitor the implementation of government projects in 12 states. Now, to throw more light into this discussion in the studio is Kachi Chukwu, who is the program officer at PPDC. Kachi, good morning to you. It's been a while.
I know, good morning.
Good to see you.
You too.
How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
All right, welcome. All right, so for the sake of our first-time listeners, can you tell us what Budeshi is?
Oh, okay. So Budeshi is an open contracting platform. So in simpler terms, it's a platform where we upload government projects. So what we do at the PPDC is we make use of the Freedom of Information Act. We make requests to ministries, departments, and agencies, requesting for their, capital expenditures. So agencies give us list of all the contracts they've awarded with their contractors and all the people, details of the project, the contract information, the budget sum, and all that. And then we'll go ahead to upload it on the Budeshi platform, which is an open contracting portal, which makes use of the open contracting data standards. So the idea behind this is to give people an opportunity to actually, have an idea of how government spends their money and give them access to details of projects at all times. Basically, yeah.
That's interesting. Now, effective service delivery is only met when the needs of the citizens are met, and these services actually address a problem of making life easier for people. Now, what role does PPDC play in ensuring improved and effective service delivery in Nigeria?
Okay, great. So our job doesn't just stop at just uploading this contractual details on the platform. We also go as far as monitoring the project implementations. So we deploy what we call community-based monitors, which are picked around the whole country. So what they do now is pick up projects on Budeshi to go and track it to ensure that those projects were actually properly implemented and that they're actually in use, and to also measure the impact of those projects, as well as also gather from the end users their other needs, which could also be reported back to their representatives and implementing agencies as well.
Okay, that's interesting. So how is data from Budeshi sourced, and is the platform easily accessible?
Yes, it's accessible, it's open, it's free. As long as you're connected to the internet, you can access data on Budeshi, and it's quite user friendly. It's quite understandable. So by the time you log in, from the platform, you'll be able to see, you can search any state in Nigeria, the MD as well you're interested in picking up a project, be it an education project or a health project. You probably key in your state and key in the sector you're interested in, and you see the list of health or education projects in your state and or your communities. So probably from the list, anyone that's of interest to you, you'll be able to track it, to check its implementation. Like I mentioned, these details we get it from the MDAs themselves, so it's not they're quite verified. So we'll make FI requests and they give us responses. These responses we now convert into the OCDS format and upload it on the platform for people to easily access data.
Yeah. This is interesting because last week we discussed extensively about the new improved
Budeshi,
Budeshi.
yes.
I think that's 2.0, Mercy?
Yes.
2.1. 2.1.
Yeah.
And I took a look at it. It was quite impressive, very easy, and also very, very, understandable for anyone who cares to go to that platform. So basically, I think it's a great opportunity to go see what the data is like and all of that, and find out what more is being done by the PPDC. But let's also talk about the fact that you mentioned earlier that PPDC deployed community-based monitors. Tell us in detail the role of community-based monitors in the work you do, especially in ensuring improved service delivery.
Right. So the idea behind the community-based monitors, usually PPDC, we usually go from Abuja to monitor projects in the communities, and in the course of doing that, we came to the realization that a whole lot of people, even those who are the communities, who have very little or no idea about the projects that are ongoing in their communities. So we decided now that it was time to actually empower and mobilize community-based monitors. These are people who live in these states, who live in these communities. This is sort of to build a community of practice so that you build people's interests in monitoring projects. So we were able to mobilize community-based monitors across the country, and they're now going in batches now to monitor projects in their various communities and report to the communities as well as report back to us, and then check the status of the projects, the ones that are abandoned or not working and all that. Then we can report back to the implementing agencies to to inquire why such projects have been abandoned. Basically, yeah.
So are there any updates on project monitoring done so far?
Yes, currently we deployed CBMs in 12 states, that is in Abia, Imo, Kebbi, Bauchi, Akwa Ibom, Katsina, Cross River, Ondo, Kwara, Osun, and Plateau State. So we have CBMs currently monitoring projects right there. The first tranche of the reports just came in, and then the next batch also will be going in September. So we're looking at monitoring about over 200 projects between August and September from the platform. Projects going as far back as 2016. It's ordinarily expected that the project of 2016 should have been completed and it's in use by now, but you would be surprised that that's not actually the case.
I know, right? This is Nigeria, so
exactly.
Possible.
Some of them are not even existing. You can't actually find them, and the whole large sums of monies have been pumped into this project. So basically, that's what they're trying to do. We're updating Nigerians, updating the implementing agencies on the status of this project, and also updating the communities too, and enlightening and training them at the same time, so that they will be able to monitor projects that are starting up in their communities. Because most of the time, a lot of times, all of them, I'll probably say, think most of these constituency projects are actually being done by the representatives with their own personal funds, right? So because on most of the projects is probably described the names of the people who had sponsored or rather attracted those projects. So most of them don't really have an idea that these are actually government funded projects. They actually think these are projects that are being funded by their representatives. Yeah, so basically those are kind of things we're trying to enlighten and let them know so that they are aware,
Okay, that's interesting. So, but when, after the monitoring, carried out so far, then what are the next steps that you take?
So from the reports, the next thing we're doing now is what we'll call two things actually. We'll have the community engagement, after which we also have the stakeholder engagement. What we're trying to do now is for projects that are probably they are completed, but they're not in use, because there are instances where projects have been completed since 2016, but they're not in use. What's the reason? They say they are waiting commissioning. And it doesn't make any sense that you build a project in 2016, it's depreciating.
Commissioning is not about cutting, using
scissors to cut with ribbons and all. You understand me? Yeah. So I don't know, I really don't understand the idea behind that. And then you go to a school where they don't have classrooms and a new classroom has been built, and then it's under lock and key with toilets, says awaiting commissioning since 2016, and then the students are trying to manage the old classrooms and
that is so bad.
And then you're asking yourself, what's the point? You're asking the principal, why can't you access? They say they can't access it because they're waiting commissioning. I don't know what that means. So basically what we're trying to do with projects like that, and those ones that are not existing too, we're trying to do now is to bring the community people, the implementing agencies, and also bring the representatives together in one town hall, so that we can all jointly discuss, and they're able to give the community people feedbacks. The community people are able to ask them direct questions. That's what that particular town hall meeting is trying to we get towards achieving. Yeah, and then the stakeholder engagement is to also ensure that we're driving campaigns and advocacies for those projects that are abandoned and the projects that are not existing. To find out if monies were actually released for this project. How come that it's not on ground? Because the 2016 project, the 2015 project, doesn't mean because it's passed, doesn't mean that people shouldn't be accountable, because these are lots of money. We're talking hundreds of millions, right? So it doesn't matter because the 2014 project, everybody has forgotten, so everybody just moves on. Okay, new year, we'll have a new project. What happens to the old ones? Yeah, so basically that's what the community engagement and the stakeholder engagement we have planned, we'll be trying to achieve.
That's interesting, because money just shouldn't go down the drain like that. It should be accounted for, and people should benefit for it, because that's what it's meant to be, to benefit the people. So if people don't get to, you know, have meaningful benefit from some of these projects, then I think they need to be interrogated. For those of you who are just joining us, this is Budeshi, a radio program that comes in courtesy of the Public and Private Development Center, PPDC. Over time, we have discussed the works that the PPDC is doing in terms of monitoring a project, and today is one of such days, as we are looking at, you know, the very recent plan of the PPDC that has deployed community-based monitors, that's CBMs, to monitor the implementation of government projects in about 12 states. So it's an opportunity for you to listen up, you know which communities they're in. A very good thing that their website is there for you to, you know, go check and ask all the questions, and they will get to, you know, tell you so much more. This morning, though, we're talking with Kachi Chukwu, who is a programs officer at PPDC, and he's telling us so much more about that. Now, having talked about, you know, what you do when these projects are monitored, Kachi, tell us about, you know, challenges. What are some of the challenges that, you know, comes in the process of sourcing for information in the process of monitoring this project, and so much more?
Oh, okay. So it's quite sad that in 2020, most MDAs, it's quite shameful to say as well, that most MDAs don't actually know what the Freedom of Information Act is. You could actually have MDAs already telling you they don't know what that is and it's not applicable to them. So those are some of the basic challenges you get when you make requests, you know, requesting for, you know, details of contracts. These are things that you've already done. They're not sensitive information. You just want to know how much have you spent last year, how much did you spend last year, how much did you spend in 2015, which basically should be on record. So those are part of the challenges. MDA is not willing to release information for whatever personal reasons. I personally believe if you have nothing to hide, I don't know why it shouldn't be transparent. People should easily have access and records to such informations. But then in cases also when we receive this data and the CBMs are deployed, the CBMs also face challenges in the field as well.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and some of such challenges are actually threats from the representatives themselves. You know, a couple of them had calls from the representatives asking them to leave that particular site, that they have no right to come and inspect any project and whatsoever. Some call them threatening them on the phone and all that. And because of these kinds of things, even when they visit projects, speaking with teachers in schools, they're not willing to open up to them because they're also afraid of their jobs. Because they don't want to say anything that will get them, you know. But then I really, it doesn't really make sense to me, because monies have been released, public funds have been released for a particular project. It's not your money, right? As a matter of fact, these projects are to be implemented by agencies. You as a representative, you're only playing an oversight function, really. So we are only trying to help you with your own job, but most of them see it as threats. Most of them see it as personal attacks to them, which is not the case. We're not concerned about who attracted the project. My major concern is, here are the project specifications. Was it done? Is it being used? Was it properly done? Those are my concerns. Value for money. But in situations where you have them threatening CBMs, asking them never to visit those sites, telling the people who work in the schools or in the PhDs are monitoring not to answer questions from any of them, it makes it really difficult.
Indeed.
Yes, and then of course also by the time you're speaking with the community people who 90% of the time have no information, have no idea about the projects. As a matter of fact, most of them don't even know where those projects are coming from, right? So they just feel like most of the time they just wake up. Some principals or head teachers will tell you they just wake up one morning, come to school and see that the contractor is already laying foundation in their school. They have no information about those projects. So it makes it very difficult for them to actually ask questions or to actually properly monitor its implementation, because you have no information about the project. So instances where a contract has been awarded for a 4 block of classrooms, the contractor comes there and does a 2 block of classrooms.
There's no way to verify.
There's no way to verify, right? So the head teacher just signs off whatever paper he or she is given and says the project has been done, the contractor leaves. So by the time we're now there to monitor, I'm saying, but the details I actually have says it's supposed to be a 4 block of classrooms and furnished with chairs, everything. And I'm seeing just here 2 block of classrooms, nothing else, just an empty, room. But with the contractor, somewhere has already been fully paid. You understand? So it makes it really difficult. So many instances where one particular instance where they were actually on holiday, only for them to come resume on the midterm break, only to see that they've started building in the school.
Wow.
And people in the community actually were accusing the headmistress for saying she had already collected the money and is implemented in the projects in the school because they weren't aware. It took a whole lot of convincing before the community people would believe that she had no idea about this project. She was also seeing it for the first time.
Yeah.
You understand? So those are basically some of the problems. It makes it really difficult for people to actually participate or monitor set projects when you don't have specifications for such projects.
Indeed. Okay, so I mean, having listened to that, they sound very, very. It's weird that you can't start a project, you don't even inform the principal. And I think that is done because there are shady things. Because if it is clean and transparent, why would you want to get the stakeholders involved so that they'll follow the process and know what is actually involved? But because people are shady, they would always continue to carry on. But then how do you mitigate some of these challenges that you always...
So definitely what we do now is to give them information ahead of time. So once the budget's been released and monies have been released, we try as much as possible through the CBMs, send details of these projects to these communities and saying, okay, this project, so and so projects are actually coming to your community. We don't know when, but be on the lookout for this. So it sort of makes it a bit easier. So when a contractor comes, you already have like details of those projects. So if it's supposed to be a 4-block classroom and the person wants to do 2, you probably say no, or find a way to actually report or something. Then if it's supposed to come with toilets or it's supposed to be furnished and all that, and the person doesn't do all those things, you probably wouldn't sign off whatever paper that they give you, because they're supposed to sign off before they take it to the implementing agency to confirm that the project.
Do you give them documents for them to look through? Or
yes,
do you
exactly.
just call them and tell
No,
them?
we share the contract details with them, the contractual information, so they have it, and we also try as much as possible to also make sure the community people also have that information. So it makes it easier for everybody to track. I mean, if everybody in the community has details about a particular project, it's going to be very difficult for a contractor to not to do a shady job and leave.
If, for example, some of the major guys, like let's say principal, is trying to be shady, and these community members
are able to cover exactly.
Somehow there's going to be lots of checks and balances.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, that was the question I was actually going to ask you though about community members, how involved they are. But I mean, you've already said that community members are actively involved. Is it through their representatives or through the community leaders? How does that sound?
So, but through the community-based monitors having identified or mapped stakeholders in the communities, from the community leader, the women leader, the youth leader, the religious leader, the different levels of leaders in the various communities. What they do now is also to train them and also enlighten them on things that are happening, right? So through them, the whole community gets to also get details about the projects, about the information. So everybody in the community has some sort of information about projects that are ongoing in their community. It makes it very easy for them to actually participate. So in cases where projects are not properly implemented, they can always call on PPDC to say, okay, this project actually, you told us it's supposed to be this, but then the contractor is actually doing something different. So basically that's how we try to engage them. Of course, it also has its own challenges, definitely, because like I always tell people, one of the most difficult things in doing the job that we do is that hunger and poverty are like the greatest things restraining people from actually doing what they... A lot of times people know the proper things to do, but hunger is always there.
Honestly.
Yeah, so you have people who are who are supporters of their representatives. So once they see you coming to monitor the project, they see it as an attack, or you're coming from the opposition. So most of the time when you're trying to clear and say, I have not party affiliated, this is just me trying to ensure that this thing that is supposed to be for your community is actually being brought to your community. I have no business with your representative or trying to count votes or anything, but of course this is just my word against theirs. So
it's easier said than done.
Exactly.
Sometimes it becomes really very difficult, especially with the fact that our mindsets are already politicized at different levels. Anyways, it's been an interesting discussion this morning on Budeshi, talking about the community-based monitors that the PPDC is deploying to go out to about 12 states. Kachi has been talking to us about what they plan to do, basically how they find the work so far, or how they've been finding the work, and ways that they are able to, navigate through to ensure that accountability, transparency in the procurement monitoring process is brought to the fore for people to also actively get involved in the governance process. So I would like to know what your thoughts are this morning, in case you have any questions on how to go about monitoring any project whatsoever alongside with the PPDC in your community. If you have questions on what you need to know, how you need to go about it, any inquiry or any gray areas this morning, we'll open up the phone lines and take those calls in some few minutes before we take the final words from Kachi, and then we will be done with Budeshi for this week's episode. So quickly, the numbers to call: 094-600-951 and 0803-1230293. We also would like to have you call 080-9597-4869. It's very important that you participate, so please do call in those numbers and let's hear from you. So Kachi, I mean, from all the discussion we've had so far, are there other areas we've left out that maybe you just want to furnish? Okay, let's take this caller up first. Hello. Morning.
Yeah, good morning.
We're listening. Your name? Yes, we're listening. Your name, please. All right, Manuel, go on.
Yes. I want to ask about to get if they have information about project going on in New Cairo, Nasarawa State. Yes.
Okay.
The road is very, very bad. It's almost not accessible, and we have lived there for say 5 years or 6 years now, and there's nothing like work going on around there. The other side of New Cairo, there's a clinic there. They have the library is located there. Their roads are done. That's where the chief palace is. But the other side of Minya is so bad that the road, most times in rainy season, you cannot access the road.
Okay.
Who came up to do the road, but those people were sued and taken to court. So anybody as an individual coming to help or to do anything for the public there is an issue. And I believe there are legislatures who are assigned to do some of this project, but nothing is being done.
All right, thank you. Those concerns will be addressed by Kachi. Just stay on and listen. We have somebody else. Okay. Good morning. Morning to you. But you're just calling us. You're using the studio number to call us. All right. Do you have questions to ask? All right, let's take the next caller. Hello. Morning. Your name, first of all, please. Your name. Your name first. Okay, go on.
So what I want to say about this whole thing is the organization itself are really doing well. I can imagine there are some hurdles that they are climbing that Kachi cannot really tell us here because it's on a public domain. But the problem here is, I hope citizens of this country will know that they have the power to determine what they get, when they get, and how they get it. Now, if we realize that fact, we will know that 2023 is coming. We have been singing this all along, all before this time. These guys will come back and use the same project to campaign to us. And we'll say, okay, they will do it. We'll keep trusting them, and it will keep going. Honestly speaking, it's so disheartening to know that a particular road will be existing for 5-10 years. Yet people will come and campaign with that same road.
All right, thank you.
Telling the citizens of Nigeria, let us wake up. Let us wake up and realize that we have the power in our hands, and this power is our vote.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I'm afraid we are running out of time. We'll take the last caller now and then have a response from Kachi. Hello. Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
My name is Emmanuel Chidi. I'm coming from that office.
All right, go on.
There's this Budeshi project, project. I know this Buhari Express Road, just within that market side. One side of the road has been completed, but the other side has been abandoned. This year, from January to date, nothing is going on there. I want to ask Kachi, does he know anything about that project?
All right, thank you. Kachi will be responding in a very short while. Somebody on our WhatsApp platform said one of such projects was delivered in my community. The contractor used an inferior material. Joe Brain from Guaz, okay, that's in a Guaz community. Well, Kachi, maybe you might just want to mention some of the states, and I don't know if you have all the communities here, because it's going to take us like forever. But I think that's why the website is there, right?
Right.
Okay, so just quickly see how you can just tell us your final words and answer some of those concerns raised.
Oh, okay. So for people who are asking if I have details of such projects, so I would advise you go to Budeshi and see if such projects have actually been awarded in those particular areas. And then if cases where you don't see details about those projects on Budeshi, that is why the FOI is also there for you. I think we're looking at getting to a certain point where it's not just organizations that are actually making use of the FOI or organizations that are actually trying to monitor projects. I think individuals, Nigerians, we all should also start trying to make use of. We are available to always teach you how to, make an FOI request. And I have a feeling that if majority of Nigerians start making use of the freedom of information, it will get to a certain point where every public institution would actually want to start knowing what this FOI is. By the time they're being bombarded by letters, on a daily. So that it doesn't just seem it's just coming from organizations, who are just trying to do just their work. Yeah. So we're also trying to get citizens to get involved in this project. So you probably visit www.budeshi.ng to see, to actually search if those projects in question are actually there. Then you'll be able to confirm. But if they're not there, then of course you can always reach out to us. We'll be able to teach you how to actually make use of the FOI to make your requests.
The numbers to call.
Okay, you can call the Budeshi toll-free line. You can call it on 0800, that is 0800 283 3744. That 0800 283 3744. Or you. So basically, it's a toll-free line, so you can always call it. But in any case where you can't reach it, you can also call the office number, which is 0706 661 8896. So any of those numbers, 0706 661 8896.
All right, and the website once again is
www.budeshi.ng.
As Budeshi spelled BUDESHI. Okay, .ng, right?
.ng, yes.
Okay, so just go check that out. You have the provision for you to type in community, project, and so on and so forth. All there is to know. We talked about the improved version last week, so you need to visit that and ensure that you are a part of those monitoring community projects. Participation in governance, that's part of it. Instead of just complaining, why don't you do something? And I'm sure it will go a long way. Thank you, Kachi, for coming over this morning. Program officer there at the PPDC. For the works you guys are doing, and I'm sure if there's any more information, you come over with it for us to talk about, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's how it ends today on Budeshi. Until another time, again, I'm sure Mercy is going to tell us when that is. We have to draw the curtain on Budeshi for this Friday. We'll take a quick break and we'll come back on Morning Crossfire. Stay with us.